What's going on, everyone? Long time no see. Sorry for the lack of videos. Been actually enjoying this summer, spending some time on the boat, which is what we're going to work on today. So this is a 18-foot Sierra. Nothing crazy, inboard outboard, V6 powered, but from the manufacturer it only comes with one battery. So with all the stereo equipment on this thing, I've decided to install a second battery. So what we're going to do today is install the second battery and some cool accessories to go with it. Let's talk about those. If you frequent the channel, you know that I do review videos. Well, this is not a review video. This is just something I'm doing for myself. But we are going to use something kind of cool that I'm going to review for you guys. So off of Amazon, what we have here is a Keyline battery isolator kit, and it's a smart isolator. So what this does is it can connect two batteries together, or it can separate them. So basically what we have here is our isolator box. It comes with a bunch of battery cables and some battery terminals. So it's an all-in-one kind of a kit. Now the battery I'm going to use is a marine grade battery. So this is going to power everything on the boat except for the engine. We're going to leave the manufacturer's battery in there to power the engine. Now why do we need one of these? So basically, if you're like me, when you're out on the lake, you don't do much riding around. I go to a cove, we hang out, listen to the radio, hang out with friends, and what you don't want to happen is your battery to go dead. You can't start the boat, then you're stuck on the water. So what we're doing is we're installing a battery to power all of the accessories on the boat and leave the engine battery alone. So you can listen to the radio, you can kill that battery, your engine battery will not go dead. And how that works is, above 13.3 volts, this is going to connect both batteries together so they will both charge. Under 12.8 volts, it's going to separate the two batteries. So when the engine's running, you're going to charge your batteries. When the engine is not running, it will separate the two so that they don't both go dead. So let's unbox this real quick and see what we got. All right, so pretty simple setup here. This is the brains of the operation. You can see these are where the two batteries connect on the back. And you run these cables to the positive side of each of your batteries. We'll get into that a little bit more in depth in a second. The first thing we need to do is gain access to the battery on that boat, so I have to remove some stuff. Not going to film that part. I do want to show you this thing though. This is, I thought, was pretty cool. So what this is a voltage gauge, but it does your auxiliary battery and your main battery. So this just hooks up to power and ground, and then I'll be able to tell what each battery is doing. Okay, so here is what we have in the boat right now. These are my accessory wires, my power and my ground, that go to the radio, blower motor, bilge pump, all that kind of stuff. We have our trim motor power, our starter power, and some grounds. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and mount the other battery box in here, and then we're going to start moving some wires around, mounting our battery isolator and wiring everything up. Alright, so in just a second I'm going to show you how I have everything hooked up so far, but I had a little bit of an issue, and I guess it's because I don't work on boats every day. I should know these things, but I started hooking wires up and trying to isolate the accessories from the starter, and I was having an issue with backfeeding. So like the lights on the dash would sit there and flash, and I should know this, boats are fiberglass. Everything grounds to either the engine block or to the battery. So when I was hooking things up to the auxiliary battery, it wasn't grounded to the boat, which is fiberglass, so it wasn't grounded to the engine or the other battery. So I was chasing that for about 20 minutes trying to figure out what was going on. So here's what I did. So we have our two batteries in here. This is going to be our start battery. This is going to be our house battery. So I have everything grounded to the house battery that are accessories. So radio, blower motor, stuff like that. On the start battery, I have our main starter cable, our main ground cable, and then our trim motor, which is here, hooked up to this battery. And then I ran a jumper ground to ground between the two batteries, and now I have no more backfeed issue because everything that's hooked to this battery now has a good ground, which goes right to the engine block. So I'm going to button up a few more things right here, then we're going to mount our isolator and see if everything works the way that it's supposed to. Alrighty, so that is where our battery isolator is going to go. So what I need to do is make my cables to go from here to each positive post on the battery. And I'm going to leave them a little long because I have plenty of cable. And once I have those cut to length, we can start wiring in the isolator itself. And that's about going to wrap it up. Alright, so this is the back of our isolator. Positive to start battery, positive to secondary battery. So I need to notch out the bottom of this box, attach the cables, and then we can put it into the boat. Alright, isolator is mounted, cables are run, so now what I need to do is ground this, and what I'm going to do is come over to the alternator ground, because that'll be solid. And after that I need to zip tie some of this stuff up so it doesn't look so horrible. And then we're going to try it out with a battery charger. Okay, the battery charger is connected, charging at 14.5 volts. You can see that my red LED is on. That means that the two batteries are connected. I'm going to unplug the charger and see if it separates. You can see our voltage is slowly dropping. So when it gets to 12.8, it should separate. Alright, you heard the relay click, so that means the batteries are separated, so it appears to be working like it should. Now I'm going to mount my voltmeter gauge. So this is the little tray that goes here. You pull it out to access the batteries. So I'm going to put my little voltmeter right here. I don't need to be able to see it all the time, but if I want to check on it, I can just open the lid, check both my battery voltages right here. I'm going to run some wires off the back of this so I can hook them up to the batteries and test it out. Okay, here is our gauge, all lit up. Now, according to the instructions, this does not draw enough amperage to ever cause a dead battery. So we're going to take their word on that. Everything's all hooked up. I need to put the bin back in, clean up my mess, and that's going to do it for the battery isolator install and second battery install on this boat. Okay, everything's back together. We've got our battery tender back in here, which is where it stays. We still have voltage and some batteries. So like I said, just doing something for myself today, hanging out in the shop. Had the AC on because it's about 90 degrees outside. That's going to do it, guys. Stay tuned for more content with the Packard. I'm going to get that back in here probably next week and might mess around with the boat a little bit more, but for today I'm going to call it quits. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.